If you're currently my student, in addition to viewing this lesson, I highly encourage you to read through the information found on the assignment's Canvas page. Ellipses, hyphens, and dashes. These are some of the most commonly used but unfortunately commonly misused punctuation marks in our language. Considering the following examples makes that clear. I don't know, maybe we should meet at 6 o'clock. The Great Depression began in 1928. Double check this date. Hey, are you in the middle of something? Each of these examples uses an ellipses, hyphen, or dash incorrectly. In everyday life, this could be perfectly acceptable. Most of your friends, most of your family members, they won't think twice about an incorrect hyphen. In school or at work, however, you need to use these punctuation marks correctly. They do play an important role in connecting and emphasizing your written ideas. So let's take a look at how these are misused and how to use them correctly in your writing. An ellipsis is made up of 3 periods in a row. Sometimes writers use ellipses in an attempt to create suspense. We've all seen that and probably all used it that way at one time or another. But their real purpose is to show that information's been removed from a quotation. Take the following sentence, for example. One of the survey participants said, I don't think this new phone with all its bells and whistles is any better than the phone I am using currently. And using an ellipsis, here's the revised version. One of the survey participants said, I don't think this new phone is any better than the phone I use currently. Notice that although the information's been cut from the sentence, the overall structure and the meaning still make sense. Always add spaces before and after an ellipsis, as well as between each of the periods. Look at the following examples. First, the incorrect version and the correct version. Now, you may ask, why put spaces between the words that surround the ellipsis and between the periods that make up the ellipsis? Well, if you don't, you're misusing the period, which is a punctuation mark that isn't used with a space between itself and the word before it. Also, if an ellipsis comes immediately after some other punctuation mark, keep both of them. Take a look at the following example. I'll let you just read that. And here's the revised version. In this one, much of the information found in the middle of the first version is replaced with an ellipsis. Okay, the information right before the ellipsis ends in an exclamation point, you'll notice. The quote includes both punctuation marks. In other words, the exclamation point is not omitted just because an ellipsis was used. Anytime you use ellipses, ensure you don't introduce a fragment or a confusing sentence. If necessary, use brackets to supply any missing words. Here's an incorrect example. Sonia Sotomayor stated, in every position that I've been in, who don't believe I can do the work, and I feel a special responsibility to prove them wrong. Now, this doesn't sound like it makes sense at all, and it doesn't, so it's the incorrect usage of ellipses. Here's the correct use. Sonia Sotomayor stated, in every position that I've been in, there have been naysayers who don't believe I can do the work, and I feel a special responsibility to prove them wrong. Now, using an ellipsis, this quote could also be stated in this way. Sonia Sotomayor stated, in every position that I've been in, I feel a special responsibility to prove my naysayers wrong. Something to note, don't use an ellipsis mark at the beginning of a quotation. For example, this quote, he lost the quarter and his mother wondered where it was, is mumbled up with an ellipsis like this, ... and his mother wondered where it was. It's better to simply include the entire quote. Hyphens are short lines that link together two words or word parts. They're most commonly used in the following situations: compound nouns, compound adjectives, words with prefixes, and numbers. Compound nouns are nouns made up of two or more words. Sometimes these words are linked together with hyphens. Here are a few examples. Okay, compound adjectives are two or more words that are being used to describe a noun or a pronoun. Here's an example. The tribe has a long-standing tradition of holding a festival the night before winter solstice. To make a true compound adjective, all the words must be essential or important to the sentence's meaning. Take this one, for example. The star-studded cast included all my favorite celebrities. Both words that form that compound adjective are important, they're necessary, they're essential. Without both of them, the adjective wouldn't make sense. For example, if we said the studded cast included all of my favorite celebrities, now somehow that just doesn't quite work. Okay, the third function of hyphens is adding prefixes like X and self. Prefixes are word parts added to the beginning of a word to create a new word. Here are two examples. The X teacher used his experiences in the classroom as the basis for his novel. Here's another. Most cameras include a self-timer function that allows photographers to include themselves in the photo. Hyphens are also used for prefixes when the word spelling could be or is potentially confusing. Let's look at this example. And this one's a really good example of this. The careful recreation of the destroyed monument took archaeologists over 10 years. Now, in this sentence, recreation means what? It means creating something again. But if you didn't have the hyphen there, this word might be confused with the word recreation, which refers to an activity or something you do for fun. Be sure to see the Canvas page for additional examples of words that would be confusing or unclear, such as this one, without a hyphen. Okay, finally, hyphens can be used to spell out fractions and numbers between 21 and 99. You don't need hyphens between numbers like 100 or 3000. Here are a few examples of the use of hyphens for numbers. Okay, dashes. A dash is a line slightly longer than a hyphen. Dashes sometimes are called, referred to as M dashes because they're around the same length as the lowercase letter m. Okay, something key to know about dashes: never add spaces before and or after a dash. Here's an incorrect and then a correct way to use a dash to show you or to illustrate that. Now, dashes are similar to commas in that they can both be used to add extra details to a sentence, but there are two main situations where using dashes is preferable. First, dashes should be used when the information being added to the sentence already contains a number of commas, because too many commas could make a sentence really confusing. Here's an example. The Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Girl, the Human Torch, and the Thing, first appeared in a comic book in 1961. Now you can see where two additional commas could cause a lot of confusion. Dashes are also used to give greater emphasis to extra information. A dash signals a bit of a longer pause to the reader than a comma. If you want your readers to stop and think about the details you're sharing, use dashes. We could see that in this example. The full impact of the loss, all $100,000 of it, did not yet seem real. In this lesson, we learned about the various uses of ellipses, hyphens, and dashes. Thanks for listening.